Welcome guys, this is Automotive Anonymous, and that's the 2024 Subaru Forester Wilderness. And I think this might just be the last great year of the Forester Wilderness, so hear me out. This one specifically is in crystal white pearl, and it looks really good, especially on an overcast day like today. But I have a lot to show you guys, including a bunch of cool features and things that I may not necessarily verbalize, so pay close attention to the screen if you don't want to miss anything. I'm also going to show a really cool modification you can do to your Forester Wilderness in just a few minutes. But this is now confirmed to be the last year of the 5th generation of the Subaru Forester. So I'm here to review it for you guys, but if you're new here, I actually own Subarus, formerly a Crosstrek and then currently an Outback Wilderness. And I've driven dozens of new Subarus, including all 6 trim levels of the Forester for the 2023 model year. So today you can expect to see a walk around, all the specs, initial driving impressions, 0 to 60 on GPS, and then my final thoughts to help you decide if you should consider buying the end of the 5th generation Subaru Forester, or if you want to be one of the early adopters of the new generation coming out next year. Big thanks to Twin Falls Subaru for letting me borrow theirs for the day, and let's dive right in with this review. And if this truly is the last great Subaru Forester Wilderness, what better place to represent it than something that resembles a dry, deserty wilderness next to a river? Because that's the closest thing that I have to a forest or a wilderness to work with. But if you're new to the Subaru Forester, these started back in 1997 in the US with the 1st generation. This again is the 5th generation, and it started back in 2019. So this is the 6th and final year of this generation. It did have a refresh front end back in 2020. That's also when all the wilderness models came out, first with the Forester and the Outback, and then this year with the Crosstrek, which I have a few videos of those, even comparing it to this vehicle right here. But a base model still starts at about $27,000. So unlike some other manufacturers, Subaru thankfully didn't jump the base price of everything up a whole lot for this new year. The Wilderness is the 4th of the 6 trim levels, and it starts about $35,000. This one has a few extra goodies and options, so it's a little bit more than that. But after discounts, which you can now find on Foresters, sometimes you can get these for as low as $34,000, and that's after destination. But the Forester Wilderness offers a lot of goodies that the other 5 trim levels just don't have. It has a raised suspension by about a ½ inch, up to 9.2 inches. It has these 17-inch matte black wheels, which are their own unique design, a little bit different than the Outback and definitely different than the new Crosstrek Wilderness's wheels. It has Yokohama Geolandar all-terrain tires that are Snowflake Mountain Peak rated. I have them on my Wilderness Outback, and they really do well on dirt, mud, and snow. It of course has the dual function X mode with hill descent control, which is a pretty cool feature. These StarTex water repellent seats, the front facing camera, which you can actually leave turned on while you're driving the vehicle, unlike the Outback. That only lets you run it up to 10 miles per hour. This lets you run it at highway speed because it's on a separate screen. And then of course all the copper anodized accents that your heart could desire. This is a top safety pick plus, and you get these really bright LED headlights on even the base trim level, but certain trim levels even get the LED fog lights, which look really good. But the fun little thing I want to share with you guys is I just put an off-site 20-inch LED bar on the lower grille of my Outback Wilderness. And if you're interested in buying an LED bar or upgrading LED headlights on a different Subaru you have, or any other product, or fog lights, or pod lights, or anything like that, you can actually get a 25% discount off an off-site by the end of the year, or 20% starting in 2024 with my discount code Anonymous. I'll link all of that stuff below, and just thought that might be a fun thing you guys might want to see, because Subaru owners like to modify their vehicles, at least more so than a lot of other brands, because these have a cult-like following. And it's really no surprise, because these sell between about 110 and 180,000 units every single year in the United States. It still has a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated boxer engine with a CVT, but I'll show you under the hood soon enough. And people love these for a lot of reasons, but one is that they're so compact and they're so utilitarian for what they are. These are only about 15 feet long, 6 feet wide, 5.5 feet tall. The wheelbase is just under 9 feet. It weighs about 3,500 pounds, or 3.5 of these full-grown guys. It has a payload capacity about 900 pounds, which is actually about 20 pounds more than the 4Runner Sport that I just drove recently. And then being the Wilderness, it has a 411 final drive ratio with 9.2 inches of ground clearance. And because of the extra coolers that this has, it can tow up to 3,000 pounds. and do a full circle in about 37 feet. If you guys so far are enjoying my video or finding any benefit from it, please consider liking this video. Thank you guys. It's starting to get kind of cold out here, so we're gonna wrap up the exterior and then hop inside. When the vehicle's locked, so is the gas door. So no one can siphon your gas, but when you unlock the vehicle, so is the gas door. It's a 16.6 gallon tank. This Wilderness is down on MPG a few over the regular non-Wilderness. It's rated for 28 highway, 25 city. So its max road trip and range is about 464 miles. And then it has a one size larger tire, smaller wheel than the other ones. It's a 225 60/17 with a full-size spare. And the tread on these Yokohamas honestly looks really good. And then this one has lock, unlock, power liftgate, panic button, but it also has the rarely seen physical remote start rather than what you can get through the My Subaru app. But you can leave that in your pocket because you have proximity key features to lock and unlock the vehicle. The door panel looks very iconic Subaru. You have the lunar moon landing surface, a lot of soft touch materials, the Wilderness tags, an 11-finger handle. I'm not sure why it's that big, but it is. HK speakers that actually sound really bassy on the stock tuning settings. Bottle holder, some snacks. Baby size Subaru, all weather mats, but they're not yet installed. Rubberized pedals, hood release, fuse box, which on mine, that's where I mounted the activation switch for my LED bar. Pretty cool. A bunch of options for being a Wilderness, number 4 out of the 6 trim levels. It's actually pretty loaded. Ventilation, trip reset lighting. StarTech seats that are heated for the driver and passenger. Subaru Wilderness stamped in headrests and the giant power moonroof up top. Sitting inside here is really nice because Subaru, like a lot of Japanese auto manufacturers, make it really comfortable for the occupants of the car. They really seem to focus in on that. Leather wrapped wheel, the horn. It's loud in person, but it is kind of high pitched. You have paddle shifters on the back to simulate the 8 speeds. Voice and volume controls on the left. Auto and adaptive cruise control settings on the right. I have a secret video that has a bunch of Subaru secrets. I'll show what that looks like here if you're interested in finding out some more features you might have in here. But when you fire it up, the needles dance. The steering responsive headlights do a little theatrical display where they go side to side for a few moments. And it roars to life. With the paddles right here, you can go through the center display. And then with the info button on the left of the wheel, you can go through the upper second screen. I like the 8-inch screen on this. I like it a lot more than I honestly like the 11.6-inch screen on basically every other Subaru. But what's missing on the 2024 Forester model is there is no more CD player, which is a really big shame. Subaru took it away. They redesigned the head unit, but they didn't even redesign the center console. They still have a CD slot for that. But otherwise, you have all of your plugins down here, kind of a rubberized area. Your reverse camera looks pretty good. Sorry about all the glare on the screen, plus the protective sticker is still on here. But then you have the electronic parking brake, auto vehicle hold, your 2-stage X mode, your front-facing camera, your heated seats, your cup holders, and then 12-volt down here. Otherwise, this one has the package that has the dimming mirrors, which is really worthwhile. Plus, it has the home link settings for your garage door and the compass. And then your controls for that giant pano roof, which is fantastic, as well as having a spot to store your sunshades. This, unlike the Outback, does not actually come off and slide. It just has one of these silly little extensions, but hey, gets the job done. Otherwise, let's turn it off and our car will wish us goodbye, and we'll hop in the back seat. The back passenger area on the Forester is fantastic. All the same design language and theme. It's very comfortable, very nice materials used. This is the 40 split. Subaru seats are pretty thin, easy to lift and lower, so that's nice. These also recline, and compared to a lot of the competition in the CUV market, the Forester has a whole lot of room. In fact, basically as much as the Outback. So at 5'11", without the seats reclined, I have that much room in front of my knees. Double mat pocket pamphlets. I have everything I need except the heated seats on this one. And then armrests back here. Fairly sturdy. And it's just a really nice place to be. Look at the visibility and all the natural light you get, even from the back seat of the Forester. I honestly think the crystal white pearl and the black accents look really nice on this Wilderness. But there's 4, kind of 5 ways to open the back. You can either push the button that's on the dashboard, climb through the back seats, push the button underneath the Subaru emblem, hold your hand in front of the emblem, or just use the remote, and it opens right up. roughly 29 cubic feet of cargo capacity back here with the back seats up, 74 when they're down. So compared to the Outback, you have about 4 fewer cubic feet with the seats up and about 1 fewer when the seats are down. So for 15 feet long, it makes up that difference in space between its width and its height, which is pretty cool. You have a 12 volt, some bag tie downs, a little bit of storage behind the wheel well, but not a whole lot because, again, the length of the vehicle. Harman Kardon speaker on that side. You can easily drop the seats too, which is a pretty neat feature. And then underneath, you have the full-size spare tire, which is pretty cool. I'm glad that Subaru offers that. There's also a place to hide some extra belongings down there. What are you gonna hide? Comment below. Otherwise, power lift to lower as well, and to lower and lock. The rear door panel has no new surprises other than this is a 60 split seat. You still have a back seat designated driver on the passenger side with all the map pockets, and it's a nice place to be. And if you get to ride shotgun, you have a nice big door panel, all the soft touch materials your heart could desire, the HK speakers in the door, and a slightly larger but narrow door pocket. Otherwise, baby size Subaru again down here. The mats are not yet installed. No power options the way this one's spec'd. You just get the bar to slide forward. My backpack's having a good time. These seats honestly are quite comfortable, and they've held up really well on my own Outback with over 30,000 miles. There's no real signs of wear. You can lock it with the key that's hidden inside your proximity key remote, but it's not very large, and there's no 12 volts or anything in here like there is on the Legacy and the Outback. But let's come around to the front. I'm gonna pop the hood, and I'll show you how nicely the 2.5 liter Boxer fits inside here. Under the hood is a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter Boxer engine. These are really good, really refined. They don't get the best gas mileage, but on the forums, I haven't heard of really any engine issues on modern Subarus. This makes about 182 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and about 178 or 176 foot-pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM. And then all of your reservoirs are up top, easy to get to, easy to service. Your alternator, your serpentine belt, your oil dipstick, ventilation through the grill. You can see the block heater sticking out on this one, how it's spec'd, the filter in the box, the intake manifold runners. And Subaru Boxer engines are honestly just really well designed, and for most parts, other than the spark plugs, they're really easy to service. So let's drop the hood, take it for a drive. And here's my favorite part. I get to time travel and teleport you to one of my favorite roads. We'll take it for a drive, and then we'll do the 0 to 60 before we meet back here for my final thoughts. Initial driving impressions of the 24 Forester Wilderness and the last year of this generation. It's really good. Visibility is fantastic. The way the Boxer engine sits really low under the hood allows the hood to really slope down, so you have fantastic visibility. You can nearly see the front of the hood. The windows are ginormous. The B and C pillar really aren't that large either, so there really aren't very many blind spots in this vehicle. But thankfully, with all of its safety features, you have blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, all of those type of features. So this is a really good vehicle. If you're into soft roading and not heavy duty hardcore off-roading like a Jeep Wrangler or Ford Bronco Raptor, things like that, this is gonna do a fantastic job with over 9 inches of ground clearance and under a 9-foot wheelbase. That has a better breakover angle than a lot of trucks, and more ground clearance than most non-off-road performance trucks as well. When you have to slam on the brakes, I'll maybe give it a half pedal. It does a really good job. Turning actually feels pretty sharp because there's not a lot of overhang, a lot of vehicle in front of those front wheels. It doesn't feel like it takes very much, but if you have to change direction quickly, maybe if a deer or something pops out from the highway road, so we'll go about 20 miles an hour. This road is a little bit gravelly, but it turns in really well, really sharply, because it's all the electronic power steering. You just don't get a lot of actual road feel, no vibration, things like that through the steering wheel, but it goes where you want it to go. The problem with that is when you're going fast, when you're doing cruise control and it does its lane keep assist, sometimes it's a pretty sensitive steering wheel, so if you barely turn the wheel, it very quickly goes too far. So don't take your hands off the wheel. You gotta keep an eye on the systems. Human error is probably the #1 reason for crashes, so don't rely too much on the AI technology that this has. But overall, it's a fantastic vehicle. I'm comfortable. These Wilderness StarTech seats feel really good. My backpack can't complain, not only because it doesn't have a mouth, but because I like to believe it enjoys these seats. And overall, I think that the Subaru Forester, especially this 5th generation, is just about the best Subaru ever made for a daily driver. It's basically the footprint of a Crosstrek, but the cargo capacity and the back seat size of an Outback. The main reason people don't buy the Forester over something like the Outback or some like a CX-5 Turbo or something from Mazda is because you only have one engine option, the naturally aspirated engine, which, as you'll see in just a few seconds on GPS 0 to 60, it does okay. I will mention though that a hot summer day, it can be about 2 seconds slower than what you're about to see. I really wish the turbo engine was offered, but overall, the Wilderness Forester looks good, drives well. It's a fantastic vehicle, and you should definitely give it a try. Give it a test drive before you decide to buy it or check it off your list. Anyways, here's that 0 to 60. 0 to 60, density altitude's 2,400 feet, so this vehicle is down on power up to almost 9%. Traction off, brake rev on, sport mode happening. Let's go. Holding RPM like it should, and sounds pretty good for naturally aspirated. Not bad at all. 0 to 60 in 9.18 true seconds without rollout, as you can see bottom left of the graph, a little bit below 9. For our elements, for our altitude, that's really not that bad. Here are my final thoughts. My final thoughts of the Forester Wilderness is, even on an overcast day like today, crystal white pearl, black accents, I think this is a fantastic CUV, a fantastic offering by Subaru, and one that I really like. Personally, I love my Outback Wilderness, but if this was offered with a turbo, because of its foot shorter, more compact size, I probably would have picked this one personally. These just have basically the best visibility of anything I've driven that's not my Mazda Miata convertible. These are fantastic. There's a lot of mod potential. There's a lot of capability that these have stock. If you don't need something like a Wrangler, like a 4Runner, or something more efficient like a Tesla Model Y, this is kind of the best balance of everything. Off-road capability, more. This car can probably do more than most people are ever going to actually be willing to do themselves, while getting, you know, mid-upper 20s MPG. So it kind of mixes the off-road scene with the more efficient scene, while having a far superior all-wheel drive system to what a lot of the Hondas, Toyotas, and Mazdas have to offer. I have no reservations in recommending one, but like usual, you need to drive it for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. See how you feel when your bum's in the seats. See what it speaks to you. These are really cool, and I'm sad to see this generation going away, because there's a number of changes made to the new generation that I am personally not the biggest fan of. But hey, you guys have months to decide. You're gonna buy the end of the 5th gen or the start of the 6th generation. It's up to you. If you have enjoyed this video or found any benefit from it, please comment below so that I know that. Like it to help it get shared among other people who might benefit from this. And subscribe if you want to watch more. I always post at least once a week, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Take care.